In December, it is the festive season, and in the Netherlands we celebrate Sinterklaas and also Christmas with Santa Claus. Aren't they the same? Hallo lieve vrienden. So, in December we celebrate Sinterklaas, which is the Saint Nicholas celebrations, on the 5th of December. And also we have Christmas around Christmas, right? 25th and 26th of December. So how are these two related? I'll tell you a little more about it. So the celebration of Saint Nicholas is based on a bishop that lived around 300 AD in a place currently known as Turkey. Right, so that's where he was from. And he was known to do some pretty amazing, miraculous stuff. So that's why after he died at the 6th of December, he was announced holy, right? So from that moment on, the centuries after that, people kept worshipping him on the 6th of December, celebrating with presents they gave to children, right? Because the bishop was known as someone who loved children and gave them presents and stuff like that. So that is what the original celebration came from. However, centuries later, around the 16th and 17th century in the Netherlands, the Protestant church took over, and the Protestants don't like to worship saints. So the celebration of Sinterklaas was abolished. So from that moment on, nobody was allowed to celebrate this Sinterklaas feast on the 6th of December. So many people, they just stopped doing it. But in the Netherlands, they didn't stop celebrating because we were already used to the tradition and we didn't want to deprive the children of their presents, right? So what they did is they moved the celebration date to one day earlier, to the 5th of December, and it's not longer a worshipping event, right? It's more about just giving presents to the children by a good man called Sinterklaas. He was still dressed as a saint, however, but this was how the celebration was done from that moment on. And all the elements of the current celebration of Sinterklaas are based on a book that came out in 1850, written by Jan Schenkman, and the book was called Sinterklaas en zijn Knecht. So this was the first time that someone wrote about, well, actually the writer, he just dreamed up what Saint Nicholas looked like, and that he rode on a horse, and that he came with a boat from Spain with his servants. And these servants, they looked like black-faced people, right? They were based on the Moors from Africa, and they were dressed in clothes from the ancient times of the Moors in Africa, and this was how it was pictured in this book, right? And from that moment on, everybody just took that on, and that was how Saint Nicholas was portrayed, right? And from that year on, nobody knew any different, and every year on the 5th of December, we had pakjesavond. So pakje means like a package, right? And avond is evening. So on the evening of the packages, the children would place their shoes down at the base of the chimney or by the front door. And I don't know where that came from, placing your shoe, but you place your shoe and you expect the servants. So originally they were called Zwarte Piet, and two of them were called Pieten. And so they came down the chimney and placed presents in the shoes of these children. And well, of course, nowadays it doesn't fly that these servants were black, and so they changed the tradition. So nowadays we don't have black Pete's anymore. So we still call them Pete, but they have just some smudges on their face from the chimneys, right? So so that's how it's celebrated. But if we go back a little, so how does this relate to Christmas? When the celebration of the saint, of the bishop, St. Nicholas, was abolished, in the northern countries of Europe, people just decided, well, screw it then, we will just give presents around Christmas, right? And they started giving presents to their children around Christmas, and as the years went along, they wanted like a personification to that, right? So they came up with Father Christmas. And Father Christmas has a lot of elements that we currently know as Santa Claus. But these two different stories, they became entangled over the years. So eventually this Father Christmas was called Santa Claus. And this is, of course, based on the name Sinterklaas, Saint Nicholas. And so that's how they got entangled. And when the Europeans moved to the New World in Northern America, they just brought along their traditions of celebrating Santa Claus. While in the Netherlands, we still celebrated Sinterklaas. But since it was so popular to celebrate Santa Claus and Christmas as well, the Dutch took over that as well. So basically, originally they would be the same person, but actually they are different celebrations with presents for children. So there are a lot of similarities, but still, at least the date and the way it's celebrated and the way how these two fellows are depicted are different, right? Because Sinterklaas is like a really serious old wise man who looks down at you from his piercing eyes, from under his big brows. And Santa Claus is a very cheerful old man who is rather big in posture, right? And completely the opposite in how he comes across as a person, in how fun he is. So this is a little bit about the history of those two celebrations. And so I want to teach you as well some phrases that we hear a lot around those celebrations, right? So the celebration around St. Nicholas is called Sinterklaasfeest. So we vieren het Sinterklaasfeest means we are celebrating the St. Nicholas celebrations. And on the day before St. Nicholas, the children place their shoe. De dag voor het Sinterklaasfeest zetten de kinderen hun schoen. And the Piets will fill the shoes with presents. De Pieten zullen de schoenen vullen met cadeautjes. What the Piets also do is they throw around candy, right? So that is what we call strooien. So throw around is strooien. So de Pieten strooien met snoep. The Piets will throw around candy. And, well, the children who have learned not to pick up and eat from the floor, they will not pick it up like my children did, but the others will pick it up from the floor and eat it up. And, well, some of the Piets nowadays have a little bit more sense and will just place a handful of candy right into your hand, which is much nicer and cleaner. Some other phrases that we know is that celebrations are often done in schools. So Sinterklaas en zijn Pieten bezoeken de scholen en de kinderen. So they visit the schools and the children, and there they are welcomed with songs and praise and a lot of cheer, and the little children are very nervous to welcome this serious old man who will give them presents. And to take away the confusion with the small kids that there are so many St. Nicholases all around in the country, they invented the word hulp Sinterklaas. So that is a help St. Nicholas. That is just like a clone of the original one. So there's only one real one, and the other ones are helpers who are dressed like him. So that is what we call hulp Sinterklaas. And Sinterklaas arrives on his boat. So in Dutch that is Sinterklaas komt aan met zijn boot in Nederland. And then the Christmas celebrations is around 25th and 26th of December, right? So that is what we call Kerstfeest. And then we find presents underneath the Christmas tree, right? So er liggen pakjes onder de boom. There are presents under the tree. And Santa Claus is coming over on his sleigh. De kerstman komt op zijn slee. And if you have some other phrases that you want to share about the Dutch celebration of Sinterklaas and Kerst, then please leave them in the comments. And if you want to keep up with all my lessons in Dutch, then please like and subscribe so you will not miss a single lesson from now on. I hope this information was fun and helpful for you, and I'll see you in the next lesson.